All right, so it's been reported about a couple days ago that there was a credible leaker, rumorist, whatever you call them nowadays, that said we'll potentially get faithful remakes of Black and White. Now, of course, I'm a little disappointed that they did not mention Black to White 2 because those are the more superior games. Although it kind of makes sense from a company's perspective because Black and White are the core games, and then Black 2, White 2 are sequels. So obviously, if you're remaking a sequel, why not make the first one or remake that one? Who knows? God knows what they're doing up there nowadays. Game Freak, whoever's in charge. But if you guys want to take a little peek into what I'm talking about, Central Links, and there's some other interesting people with sources saying that there might be a faithful remake that is similar to Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And some people I've noticed with the social commentary saying, Black and White are not as bad compared to what Diamond and Pearl were, because if you guys recall, Diamond and Pearl were great, but they did have quite a bit of faults. The pacing, the speed of the game, and Platinum kind of fixed up a whole bunch of stuff for that generation. Black and White, to me personally, are pretty damn good on their own, but I would really, really want Black 2, White 2 because there's more stuff into it. There's a lot more features going on, but knowing Game Freak, I know they ain't gonna do that. They never gonna do stuff that we would ask for. But I wouldn't complain about Black and White too much because they're actually pretty good on their own. But again, third games, we'll never see third games get that beneficial factor from their own company, which is crazy to say. And of course, I also have a problem with the Faithful remake as being noted here. Now, the problem with the Faithful remake kind of stuff is we saw a pretty big issue with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Yeah, they were good games, they look good, but it kind of is like filling a void that we know already exists. What I mean by that is we can't really use our imagination nowadays in order to describe what we feel playing the remakes, the faithful remakes versus, the first time that we've jumped into these games. And I think that was the biggest issue. We expected more from a Pokemon community standpoint, that we kind of wished that Platinum was definitely remade, and we kind of wish there were way more features, and the Poke Etch or the Poke Watch, whatever you want to call it, the little interactable watch was kind of like ignored, and that's a pretty scary thing considering that was one of the biggest features, one of the reasons why the Nintendo DS and Pokemon games were so successful. And to see it pushed aside for Nintendo Switch, which by the way is a touchable screen, which is something I'm still mind boggled to this day as to why they didn't do that. See, and that's why I kind of don't want a faithful remake. Just if you're gonna give us a new game, just make it a sequel, a Black 3 White 3, which is a video I was thinking about making, but of course this stuff came out, and now I'm kind of like up in the air with like, all right, faithful remake. I mean, as long as they're using their sources correctly on this one and not trying to diverge it to a different games, I'd be okay. But who knows what we're doing nowadays, right? Um, what about the Unova region? Well, I guess there are several landmarks that I would greatly, greatly want to anticipate or love to see. Of course, being the major cities, the gym leaders. Unova will definitely have a quite a huge facelift from the again transition to 2D to 3D. And one thing I really, really do not want to see is the chibi style characters. I understand that was pretty good in a sense in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I thought they were okay personally. Pretty good is kind of an overstatement from my part. I think they were okay. They were decent. It makes sense, I guess, from an artistical standpoint. But in here, you cannot use that. You can't use these characters as chibis. You just can't. You simply can't. Black and White were more of a serious game. They were more of a storytelling driven game. And I really, really want to see characters not look like freaking little midgets. Sorry if I offended midgets out there. I just don't want to see the characters being stripped of what they really are. I mean, basically, they're adolescents or teenagers at this point. And again, I would love to see, Dragon Spiral Tower being reanimated again. I would love to see, you know, pretty much like all this area right here, I would love to see revamped. The desert was pretty cool. The first time encountering Volcarona, that was awesome. You got the mountain regions. Man, I can't believe I'm completely like blanking on names now. Has it really been over 10 years since Black and White? Freaking crazy. Um, I would love to see End's final battle. I would love to see, going up against Zekrom or Reshiram, depending on the versions, in 3D on Nintendo Switch. Maybe on a more powerful console, but gotta we gotta go with what we gotta go with. And of course, what about new Pokemon? If there is a Faithful remake, well then goodbye to seeing any potential regional variants. I don't think we'll get one, considering that in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, we didn't get new variants of any Pokemon. That was a pretty big rumor at the time, if you guys recall, but we never really got to see that. That was more so for Legends Arceus. I think they did that on purpose so that way Legends Arceus does not, have its shine taken away. Because remember, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl came out a couple months before Legends Arceus, and I guess they wanted to have the new Pokemon Legends Arceus so that way Legends Arceus has a bigger inclination to its fans. Now, you think there is space for, Pokemon like Hisuian Samurott or Hisuian Braviary or, any of these Pokemon that are in Generation 5 to make their way, especially Zoroark. That's a pretty big fan favorite as well. And then they got the Bascu Legion, which is Basculin's, evolved form. Do they have space to be in these Faithful remakes? Maybe, maybe not. I'd love to see it, but you never know. I don't think they will from a story perspective. If it's a Faithful remake, then we're not going to see any new Pokemon. And then last but not least, one of the biggest features that I miss about Pokemon are seasons. Like, the reason why Black and White 2 were very unique and very special for a lot of Pokemon fans is just the variety of features that were implemented almost flawlessly. If you go to specific towns like Undella Town, you know, depending on the seasons, the music changes, the scenery changes. I love that part of Pokemon. I love where everything does not seem monotonic. It doesn't seem like it's a corridor hallway, go to point A to point B, then point B to C. No, I love to explore the environment. I love to see this kind of stuff. I'm very surprised that Seasons didn't really make its way to the later generation of games, because this is one compelling and very artistically correct way of depicting Pokemon. And I think if they keep this, if it is a faithful remake, then sure. But again, we just don't know what a faithful remake is at this point. Is it something that we truly care about, or is it something that Game Freak sees, okay, we're only going to put this, this, and this in. We're not going to improve on anything else, and that's it. I mean, with BDSP, we had the Underground that was completely revamped. That makes sense. I mean, to keep up, for trying to sell us something, you know, I really do hope Black and White does not get the same treatment. I think they deserve far more treatment, and if they do get more treatment, it should be Black 2 and White 2. But anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think Faithful remakes are the correct answers for these generations of games? I mean, personally, I don't think so. I think a Black 3, White 3 makes more sense on my part, but who knows? Anyways, guys, it's your boy Franklin signing out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.